most important. And so what was interesting about reciprocity is anytime somebody delivers or gives us some sort of kindness, we feel compelled to return that favor. How many of you have ever gotten an unplanned Christmas present and you're like, oh crap, I got to give them a Christmas present? Happens to every one of us. Why? Because of the law of reciprocity. I remember one time, I just moved to a town and I went into a furniture store. And I was walking around the furniture store and the manager walked up to me and said, thank you so much for coming in. Here's a gift for coming. And I looked at it and it was this little, I still have no idea what this stupid thing is. It's a little ceramic thing that's got a top on it that probably cost him a nickel. And I walked around that store for 2 hours trying to figure out what I could buy because he gave this little trinket to me. And when I later learned this, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what happened to me. This guy totally abused me. No, there's nothing free, but also we don't like to have a perception of imbalance. In other words, if you gave me something, I have to give you something. And normally, you gave me something, I have to give you something bigger in order to make up for it, so that I don't feel bad about it because I didn't plan on giving you something. So yeah, I bought like a $2,000 couch because this guy gave me this little trinket. Still to this day, I'm like, what was he thinking? I like the couch though, so it worked out okay. So follow the laws of persuasion and influence. So we talked about them. Very, very basic. It's very important that you do. You use social proof, you use commitment, you use consistency, you use basically the law of authority. Who knows more about an overage? You or you're the claimant?
Me.
Absolutely. Who knows more about it typically? You or the claimant's attorney? You. All right, so here are the laws that we talked about in terms of, or the rules that I suggested. You have to have a plan, you have to focus, you have to believe, you have to focus on the basics, know who you're talking to, or talking with, and follow the laws of persuasion. So, we're not selling, we're focusing on persuading people. People love giving advice, people love helping others, so advice equals persuasion. So, why should you persuade? If claimants get help from your organization, are they going to be better off or worse off? Better off. And isn't that what the whole responsibility is? That's what our true purpose is. We're not selling somebody, we're transforming their lives. We're restoring dignity, we're restoring a little bit of their financial wherewithal that they lost. Imagine the confidence of somebody who got kicked out of their house because they couldn't pay their taxes. Where are they in a mental state? They are a mess. You know what the most powerful thing you're giving them is? Hope. You are restoring hope and confidence in their life. So, again, it doesn't get any better than this. You are a massive agent of change. So, again, never persuade anybody to do something they shouldn't do. Never make them do something they're not willing to do, or do something that could potentially genuinely hurt them. Do we all agree?
Yeah.
Okay, great. It's not you evil and you're on the dark side. All right, so here are some words that you just need to interject throughout your entire conversation. Ready? The most powerful word that you can use in any sales presentation, without a doubt, is the person's name. Every time you mention their name, you are ringing a bell and making them pay attention. Now, Bob, we shouldn't be doing this all the time, Bob, because you do sound like a used car salesman, don't you, Bob? If you use it too much, right, Bob? I mean, it just gets annoying. So use it strategically, because they cannot go off on a mental process every time you say their name. It immediately brings them present. Next thing is please and thank you. These are words that we were taught when we were kids. Everything you need to know about sales, you learn in kindergarten. If you need somebody's name, you need to say please and thank you. This is where it gets a little bit more so. Because. Because the government has your money, that's why I'm helping you. Because this happened to you, I am willing to do what it takes to make your life better. Because. And again, it's one of those things where the mind is immediately brought present with this one, and here's the other one. I want everybody to sit back for just a second and imagine a pink elephant. Ta-da! Pink elephant just entered in everybody's head because imagine is a command. Imagine I could get you $50,000. What would that do for you? What would you be able to do that you can't do now? How would that change or transform your life? The next two are pretty close to each other. Matter of fact, there's only one letter that separates them. New and now. Look, there's a new government program out there, or this new organization has been established because people like things that are new. Now, every time you say the word now, again, it's a command that brings them present. So you can use these things collectively. Imagine right now, Bob, I told you that there was a new solution in place where we could get you your money back because the government didn't deserve to keep, or doesn't deserve to keep your money. I imagine that if I asked you to participate in this, eventually you'd tell me thank you, wouldn't you, Bob? If I got you your money back, you'd probably send me a thank you card. You might even send me a Christmas card from now to eternity. So you should use these, and if you don't, well, it's your own fault. All right, we already talked about fab selling, feature, advantage, benefit. Here it is in more plain language. Feature is how much their overage is. Advantage is what getting money back would do for anybody. You could go spend it, you can invest it, you can save it. Benefit is what will it do for the person that is specifically that you're talking to. So, you want to send your kids to college, you want to send your grandkids to college, you want to take that trip. It's an amazing thing. I can help you do that. Imagine you're able to take that trip. What does that do to your stress level? What does that do to your confidence level? You happier? You sad? What's going on? Well, I believe you deserve that trip. Let's make sure you get that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send over some notary over to your house, blah, 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 blah. This is the most vital thing. Because you are asking for 30 to 40% of their money for something that they didn't know they had, and if they did know they have it, they didn't know how to get at it. But we need to make everything else more expensive than not using you. In other words, you have to be the only and most logical choice that they've got. So their embarrassment from losing their house, that sucks. Their embarrassment that they have $50,000, $100,000 sitting somewhere, equal. They risk losing that money. If they don't act fast, it's gone. They're afraid that this is a scam. We talked about how to overcome that, didn't we? They're afraid of the time pressure. Oh my goodness, I have to make a decision now. Well, yeah, or no, and let the government keep your money. I don't care how you make your decisions. But if you want your money, you probably should do it now. Anyway, all of this, it mounts up to make that, by the way, I'm taking 30 to 40% of your money for the privilege of helping you do this. It makes it seem so small and insignificant. I am ready to give you a check for 30 to 40,000. Matter of fact, you don't even have to give me a check, Mr. Rich, because the lawyer is going to hand out the money. I'll go into the lawyer's escrow. They'll hand me my share. They'll hand you your share. They're legally bound to do it. If not, they lose their license and go to jail. Yay, lawyer. All right, story selling. Anyone familiar with story selling? One of the easiest ways to get somebody to buy into you is by presenting a story. You know what? You actually remind me an awful lot of Sally. Sally was, similar to state. She went through some really painful things. She lost her house. And any number of other things. But I can tell Sally was a really caring mother. She wanted to give everything to her kids. This woman worked 80, 90-hour weeks, worked her fingers to the bone. And she was fully dedicated and really focused on giving her kids everything she didn't have. Now, what did I just do there? Okay, so we got some empathy. The other thing is supplanting ideas. So in other words, the law of liking also works this way. You remind me of Bob. Bob is a successful dad. He cares an awful lot. He is a hard worker. So now, because of the law of liking, because I've told you who you remind me of, who do you now strive to be? Bob. What characteristics do you try now to emulate? Hardworking, caring. Everything that I'd say, you know what, Bob is this. You remind me an awful lot of Bob because he was this, and this, and this. Now you want to be those things because you want to live up to my expectation of what you are. Tell me that's not crazy. It's like the teacher that walks into the rowdy classroom and says, you know what, I've heard you guys are the best students in the world. I've heard you guys are absolutely phenomenal. I'm so excited to be teaching here. And this is the class that everybody, they kick teacher after teacher out of the room, send them home crying and everything else. And she walks in and it completely resets the expectation simply by telling them that they're worth something and that they're smart kids. And she's excited to be teaching the smart kids. Guess what? They all act smart. It's so crazy. But we get exactly what we expect. So here's your next choice. Opportunities missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. This is not necessarily easy stuff. And I promise you that you are going to go out like the seizure on the golf course. Remember that? This is not stuff that happens naturally. But the more you do it, the better you get. And so the more you focus on it, and I mean, who's willing to do that? Who's willing to take this and try? Take it home and give it a shot. Wonderful. And who's willing to continue doing it after they've given it a shot? Okay. So now I'm going to take you into the script. Yay. Now, the reason that I took you through all of that is so that when it comes time for you to write your own version of this script, you can do it. The over script. Okay, let's pass them out. So, the scripts are coming around. We're going to walk you through the various sections of the script, and I'm going to tell you why things are where they are. So, I'll wait a few more seconds, and then we'll start in. By the way, you guys okay going for a few more minutes?
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Okay. So, when they answer, hi, Bob, my name is Tom, and I'm an asset recovery specialist calling from the government-held asset recovery group. Our organization has been tasked with identifying people who may be owed a significant amount of money by the government. Am I speaking with Bob Diamond, who used to live at 1234 Mockingbird Lane around 1995? Yes? Great, we're going to keep going. If no, great. Is that person available, or do you know who that person is? And if the answer is no, you cut and move on to the next person. But well, let's assume that they say yes. Excellent. I'm glad I finally reached you. You are a hard person to track down. Okay, so let's take that first little bit for a second. The first sentence of this is absolutely critical. I am an asset recovery specialist. What titles do you give yourselves when you call out right now?
Expert.
Expert? Asset recovery should probably precede whatever you want to do. Specialist, expert, whatever. But you want to have the main benefit to them be in your title.